Welcome to the SnowsBest.com podcast, It Takes a Village series, where we chat with Aussie athletes on their road to the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics and the village of people that helped get them there, from coaches to family members, judges, besties, officials, and more with your host, Miss Snow-It-All, Rachel Oakes-Ash.
Welcome to the SnowsBest It Takes a Village podcast. We're super excited this morning because we have not just one, but two Winter Olympians in the studio. And I'd love to introduce the first one, three-time Winter Olympian Belle Brockhoff, 17 podiums on the FIS World Cup circuit, including 5 goals, and she's transporting herself into the studio all the way from Melbourne. Is that right?
Yeah, here in Melbourne, down in Park, down near the beach, actually.
We asked you, Belle, to bring somebody along with you that's part of your village. So who did you choose?
I chose Sami, and I've chosen Sami because we have gotten really close from 2017 onwards. And 2017 is when I actually got my first ACL injury, and she was in SASFA at the time, and I was doing my return to sport in SASFA, and we just linked up and we just kind of had a really good just friendship form from there. And and she for the better part of the whole year, she was checking in with me quite a bit to make sure that I had everything I need and supported me. And she really didn't have to do that. So since then, we've had a really close relationship.
And we're talking about Sami Kennedy-Sim, of course. She is also a three-time Winter Olympian with 2 podiums on the FIS World Cup. And you were the flag bearer at the closing ceremony in Beijing. Sami, welcome.
I was. Thanks so much. And it's a pleasure to still be part of Belle's village.
Isn't that nice? That's so lovely. I mean, you girls got really close. You were in 3 Olympics together. You said it was over injury for you, Belle. Did you actually spend a lot of time at the Olympics as well?
Yeah, we spent a lot of time. Like
The three of you? The 2 of you together? Yeah.
Yeah, there was crossovers, which is really handy. Sometimes we had crossovers even on World Cup as well. But in terms of the Olympics, we've got a lot of spare time in between races, training, doing all these things that we have to do for the day. And then in between, everyone goes to the athlete lounge. You get to talk to athletes that you normally wouldn't even see on tour because everyone's got different schedules, different locations. And we normally see them at the Snow Awards in April every year. So, yeah, it was something really special, and it was really cool to kind of cheer your fellow teammates on together, especially in the little athlete lounge. So, yeah, it was really, really special.
Well, at Pyeongchang, Belle, the ski cross team arrived in the day that Belle was competing. So I kind of dumped my bags and pinned it for the finish area at Phoenix Park so that I could cheer Belle on. And was really special for me to share that moment with her family, and to be her family within the team was really cool. And then I even pretty sure I peer pressured her into staying for the closing ceremony at Pyeongchang so that we could hang out more.
That's fantastic. What do you love about Belle, Sami? How has she inspired you?
I mean, she's just not only a incredibly talented and hardworking athlete, but she's a really fierce friend. And the bond that we have established over a love of snow sports and a love of just letting our hair down and letting our inner freak out a little bit, being silly, it kind of makes living life on the road a lot easier when you have people who are going through the motions. And because we weren't direct competitors within our sport, but we had an understanding of each other's sports, that was a really strong bind for our friendship, I think. And, win, lose or draw, it didn't matter. We definitely have always appreciated human first, athlete second.
And what do you do to let you freak out?
Oh my gosh, we we keep finding all these weird videos that we'd made on Snapchat, and one at this camp in SASFA that Belle and I really got close at. We were sharing a physio, and this poor physio, Nadia, was studying a PhD or something, and Belle and I were in her room filming these stupid videos, laughing while this poor girl was trying to study. Even though we could have gone to my room.
Yeah, that was it.
We wouldn't have disturbed her, but it just wasn't even a thought. We were so obnoxious.
She was so patient with us, though. I was going to say, like, it was a point of laughter where you were wheezing and then also borderline trying not to pee your pants. Like, it was that kind of stuff, yeah.
I did pee my pants. I'm pretty sure I did pee my pants.
And this is before you had kids, Sami.
Yeah.
Just poor.
I love this though, because it really does take the pressure off, and also the boredom, I imagine, because you did 124 World Cups, Sami. That's a lot of travel. That's a lot of training. That's a lot of move from one competition to the next competition. Belle, you're at that elite level. Does it get boring?
No,
I wouldn't say it gets boring, but it's certainly for me in my situation at that time, I was the only athlete training in my team at that point. So enter friendship with Belle took the pressure off my coach, Sean, to entertain me and gave Belle and I both an outlet to be able to, organize fun things to do on a day off and explore and, even be quiet just with somebody. And have some company without it taking away from the reason why you were there. And you can't be serious all the time because it's exhausting. So we'd fill our cups in really weird ways, like, buying some cheese and Nutella and bread and having a picnic in the mountains.
Nice. That sounds lovely. Actually sounds quite romantic. I wouldn't mind that myself. So Belle, you've had quite a few injuries in the past few years. What's happening with your arm?
My arm, I decided that my arm doesn't identify as an arm anymore. It identifies as a shelf. I just snorted.
It's quite brutal, isn't it? You could put a whole library on that shelf. Yeah,
I could. I've got a lot of books here. It's just. I'll just show you what they were. I did the other just before. I was like, I could just fit like almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I had a pretty nasty accident. I didn't really think too much about it, and I was training as a first camp. We had just rocked up. This was last year. Rocked up into Susfay, November, and about the 5th day in, after feeling really good on snow and powerful and riding, excited, and then I just had a crash, and then my hand got caught underneath my ass, and I crushed it with my glutes. It completely obliterated the bone, and I thought maybe it might have been just a clean break, no worries. Jan came down, one of the coaches, he goes, oh, it looks dislocated. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I was just doing this, trying to put it back in, and I just felt all this crunchy, like gravel-like bone inside. And then, we thought maybe we should get an x-ray. So, definitely broken when they took the glove off. It was like a fork. So, not ideal.
Your glutes must be very powerful.
Some people, Rachel, they crush watermelons between their thighs and using their glutes, and Belle's just like, oh, I'm just going to crush hands.
I was going to crush my hand. But what I've always admired about you, Belle, with your various injuries, and you certainly had a lot, and let's be honest, border cross and ski cross obviously is quite a brutal sport. So if we're looking at you on Instagram, or we're looking at what you've been up to and how you're addressing your injuries, it's always, to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sami, is you just seem so measured and okay about it, and focused on what's next and how you're going to get out of that injury and recover and move on to the next goal.
Yeah, like it's...
Sami,
she definitely is.
Yeah, like it's... of course it's hard, and a lot of people don't see like probably the more emotional hard side of it, because when I'm in that headspace, I'm not focusing on getting my camera out and getting out of my gremlin face and then filming myself and then posting it online. So people aren't going to see that. I'm not focused on that, sharing that, which, I'd like to share that, but I'm not in that moment, I can't think of that. But yeah, like I from there, like I come out of that headspace, and then I look at like, well, time's going to go regardless of whether you're sad, happy, content, whatever it may be, injured. So, for me, like, and I look at it analytically, it's like, well, what's the next step? And well, if you break it down from there, whether it's from a nutritional perspective or recovery or a training perspective, you just need to keep chipping away regardless of how you feel. That's discipline, fundamentally. But like, no one's going to give a shit if you just don't do anything, because it's your life. Competitors and friends do care to a degree, but at the end of the day, it's like it's all up to you to do the work and commit yourself to it. No one else is going to bring you to the gym and then help you do the reps and load up, your barbell and help you do that. Like it's all you. Which is what I like about sport in general, especially individual sport. It's all on you, and it's harsh, but it just is.
But you've got to dig deep every time, particularly when it's injury after injury after injury, and you're coming back and you're at your peak and then you injure again. And this happens to a lot of athletes. I imagine that would be quite the emotional roller coaster. Some people would just give it up. Other people, like yourself, are like, well, I'm just going to have to dig deeper.
Yeah, it is. And you do, and it's part of the sport. Like if I didn't want to get injured, I wouldn't even do the sport, But it's just part of it. And once you can accept it, then it's easy. Like it is. Like you just apply the rehab and you just do it. And then, it's up to you at the end of the day. Yeah.
I think, Rachel, with to sort of carry on from what Belle was saying about injury is part of the sport. When particularly a winter sport person, when they step onto snow or onto the ice, there's an inherent risk involved with them engaging in that activity anyway. And even from a medical team point of view and things, they don't really accept that risk that we've already had to accept just by engaging in the sport recreationally, let alone at a high level. And so for Belle, her resilience, for me as an athlete was always incredibly inspiring. But her determination to define her own path moving through is probably what makes her one of the greatest.
Can we talk about cameras? Because before you said about how, of course, you're not going to pull your phone out and film yourself when you're, in a helicopter being airlifted out of a competition. That's the last thing on your mind. Is there a pressure more so as an athlete now over the past, 3 Olympics, that's 14 years or something, or 12 years, coming up to 14 years, to be more active on social media as an athlete at your level or not?
It depends. It really depends. I think it's just more around if you want to, and you don't owe it to anyone, but if you want to share your own story. I know plenty of athletes who are very successful and just don't have a social following at all, or they have it on private and that's it, and that's all they want. I was talking to our CEO yesterday and he said Dale Smith did a really good job of saying, I don't want any sponsors and that's it, and I want to enjoy this moment as much as I can, and I'm going to get this shot once, and he did that. Whereas for me, I really enjoy that creative side. So taking photos, videos, I really enjoy that. So for me, it's a lot easier. And I've had sponsors where they've offered a contract and they've said, well, this is what we want you to do. And I said, it's too much. I'm not going to commit that much. So all the sponsors I have now are this is the requirements. It's pretty casual to post how you would like to, because this is you and your interpretation of the brand. It's pretty straightforward. So, and then I just kind of incorporate it whenever I have free time, I'll do it. But it doesn't take too much of, who I am as an athlete.
But Dale Smith could afford to step back further because he had a personal financial income separate to skiing. There was a lot about Dale Smith that I thought was phenomenal and was obviously going to result in him being the legend that he became. It's hard. It's expensive. It's an expensive sport, skiing and snowboarding. It's not easy. You do need to make some money.
It's unrealistic to think that you can just use social media to generate an income as an athlete. For Belle, she, from what I've seen of her on social media, it's fulfilling that creative side, and it's a way for her to express herself through photography mostly, and a lot of the time, Belle, that has not a lot to do with Belle Brockhoff, the athlete. That's way more human. And, if there's the ability for you to generate income off other things that can complement that, that's great, because the reality is we don't live in a logo slap world anymore. You can't just win a medal and get a logo on your helmet and retire. It doesn't work like that. Opportunities for athletes, even on social media, are so limited these days micro influencers are really popular. The mainstream media is shifting all the time. Like, athletes have to be so creative if it's something that they want to pursue an income that way. And fortunately, I think, like, it's so cool in winter sports. We have a breadth of athletes that do all sorts of things. We have people who are, studying so that they have a plan and an internship and then a job for when they retire. We have people like Belle who are exploring many different things that they may want to do alongside their career. You got me that, like, chopped and changed all the time, like, don't have a social media following whatsoever, but, like, still remain my authentic self and am able to do the things that I enjoy. Like, there's no one way anymore. And I think when we first started Belle in skiing and snowboarding, like, social media was a really exciting tool to communicate with people like our friends and families when we were on the road and remain connected. But it's really changed a lot in that 14-year stretch.
And as you said, Belle, you don't owe anybody your story.
Yeah.
No. Like,
I thought that was fantastic.
Like, I've always said, like after these Olympics or whenever I'm done with the sport, I'm happy to delete all my social media. Like, like, that's it. No, honestly, like, I have no.
Good on you. I'm so
like,
jealous. Yeah.
Like, I just don't have any need for it. I don't like what I want to do post life. Like, has nothing to do with it. Like, I think as I got older, I just really enjoy developing relationships with people and spending time with the people that I love and helping people is also a big love of mine too. So it doesn't really involve social media that much. And I think social media, like, it's all about clickbait, views. It's not like I remember back in the day where you could just post a photo and then systematically it has it all lined up, dated, like who's posted what, and you can see, everyone's life throughout the day or weeks or whatever it may be. Now it's like you barely even see anyone's posts anymore because they get buried by now all this AI stuff's coming out, and we'll have AI influencers that take over influencers, athletes and everything. So then that side has to become more extreme to take over the AI taking over in posting. So, like, it's
my God.
Yeah.
So one would like to think it will circle back round to authenticity and it will circle back round to organic, real content. This idea that you owe people your story. When you broke your back in Georgia, did you feel inundated with people wanting your story?
Yeah, a little bit. And I think, like, my family found out through the media.
Oh God, that's awful.
I'd broken my back, which isn't great. And I didn't realize there was a whole story sent out about me and everything. And I'm like, I'm barely figuring out what's actually happened to my spine. So, like,
do you mean a press release? Was there a press release sent out?
Yeah. Like, so I didn't even know any of that was happening, and my phone was going off when I got it. Had all hundreds of messages. My partner, she found out through everyone else. Like, it's just
oh my God,
it was a lot. But I understand that it comes with you're on the world stage, so I understand that but I was still
that's really hard though. That's really hard because that is a process that should be looked at more intensely, particularly if there is releases. Like, when I get a press release, as far as I'm concerned, I'm free to publish that now because all of I'll often find out about somebody's injury or accident before it goes out to the media or before their family may know. I always wait and I always say, have you got a release on this? Let me know when I can put something up. Because I remember as long ago as when Michael Hutchence died at In Excess and I was working on radio and we were told Michael Hutchence has died, but you cannot announce it until his family's been told. And there was a particular TV channel that announced it. And then once that was announced, unfortunately, it was open fodder for everyone. And his family had not heard yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm really sorry that happened to you. I think that's horrible.
Yeah, it happens, but it's just what it is, and you just have to work around with what had happened. So yeah, I'm very fortunate enough that my coaches reached out to my parents, my mum, and said, hey, she's all right.
Yep.
I remember Marcel being there at the helicopter, and he gave me the phone to call my mum. to make sure that she knows that something's going
Oh,
on.
nice.
I'm okay. I'm in hands, you know. But yeah, it does happen. And I remember Sami calling me actually just because out of the blue, like she knew I'd stopped racing and everything, and she was just checking in.
Breastfeeding in the middle of the night.
Breastfeeding in the middle of the night. Obviously saw all the shit that went on online. She calls me and she just wanted to check in. I was like, I'm in a hospital bed right now. She's like, oh fuck.
She was like, I think I have
my
a broken
God.
back. And I was
Yeah,
like, what?
yeah, broken back. Yeah. But yeah, that was the whole.
Jeez.
But yeah, it was nice to have that because even, you know, when you don't have, because the hospital was like a few hours away from the actual resort. So
Yeah.
when you're away from your friends on the team and whatever, like it's nice to have someone check in with you when you're just laying there waiting to know like what the hell's going on. So yeah.
No one's told you anything. I can't even imagine how frightening that would have been. And for your poor partner as well to have to then jump on a plane and read all about it online. And that's the downside of social, isn't it? It's such the downside of this
no privacy,
really fast this news cycle that just goes boom, 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 boom. And I feel the Olympics is like that because when you're at the Olympics, it's like news cycle, news cycle, news cycle, news cycle. What's next? What's next? What's next? And then all the emotions of what's going on at the Olympics, all sorts tends to just sort of dissipate or go to a corner because everyone's too busy with this next event or this next person. And how does it feel on the ground when you're at the Olympics as an athlete competing?
Like it's exciting. Like it's very exciting. You get to see all these athletes, obviously like your team and everything. You get to see people that you've seen on TV that are very famous in their discipline. Like Shaun White for me. That was
like
really
Scotty
cool.
Scotty James.
We see him every day. It's fine. But I'm talking about like other people.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
no,
Good.
get,
like, Shaun, you got really excited about Shaun White, did you? That's awesome.
no, like I see Scotty all the time, like at the VIS and stuff. So like,
I know.
You know, you get used to seeing him, and he's a person, he's a human. At the end of the day, you know, he just loves what he does, and that's his craft. But then other people that you have no access to, you just get like, oh, you know, that's awesome. Not knowing that, you know, Scotty's the same sort of level. So like, like it's cool to see those guys. Met Lindsey Vonn as well. That was really cool. But then just getting to check in with your teammates is the highlight for sure. And then, you know, meeting different people from their sport. All the free gear that you get, that's also fun. It feels like a Harry Potter scene. Like, you know, when you walk to your room and everything is there laid out for you. Like same thing. Like
I feel like didn't you do some unboxing of your stuff last time? From what I remember, unboxing all the free stuff online on your social. Someone did, or was it you, Sami? Yeah, everyone does it. Yeah,
No, it was Belle.
Yeah, it was Belle. Yeah, it was Belle. Yep.
2014, I put up all these photos, just of everything that I had. Because I'm like, Sochi, and like I'd never seen anyone really do that properly. Like I see some gear, like outfits on, trying. I'm like, nah, it's just to show you all this stuff right now and just lay everything out. It's a lot. Like it's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
I will say what's really cool. I mean, Belle and I have been to the same 3 games, and each of those Olympic experiences, results aside, even just as Olympic experiences, were very different. Russia, Pyeongchang, and then Beijing. You know, Russia, the unrest around Russia, a bit of unrest politically around Pyeongchang, and then, you know, COVID and a bit of political unrest around Beijing. It was pretty.
I think Italy's going to be fine. Yep. 3
pretty heavy situations, and for me, one of the most fun games was actually Beijing because it was so athlete centric that we didn't have the noise of the Olympics around. We weren't worried about if you could go and catch up with your family or see some friends or try and get to an event. Like, you know, it was really insular. Yeah. Like Belle and I would have illegal hangouts in our room and like, you know, in our rooms and like eat chocolate and like, you know, talk shit and, you know, like, and funnily enough, I don't even know if Belle knows this, but there were in the village that we were in Beijing, there was sort of like this elevated loop around like a courtyard that had some shops and things, you know, like and like activations for athletes underneath. And on Strava, all of the athletes from all of the sports and all of the coaches were like trying to reset the fastest mile around the village, and like because there was no external, you weren't going out to party post event. You were in for your event, then you were out. So people really, that for me was like the actual Olympic experience, because you got to share these moments with the people who in a normal performance setting probably would have just pissed off and gone and continued with their lives. And so that was really special. And for us, obviously with the COVID regulations, we were pretty heavily policed. So it was a bit naughty. To hang out. It was a bit fun.
I love that naughtiness. I was at Pyeongchang. I didn't go to Beijing because of I just didn't like the idea of being in a media bubble in a hotel. But my media friends were all saying that many media were trying to actually actively get COVID because the hotels they were staying in had no Wi-Fi. They forced you to go to the press centre to use the Wi-Fi so they could watch you. But if you got COVID and had to go to a COVID hotel, there was Wi-Fi for you. So they were like, I wouldn't mind getting COVID so I can get some Wi-Fi in my hotel room. Like, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, Lavinia's going to be quite different.
Everyone licked the spoon.
Oh, I know, the classic. Yeah. And then she was saying that you also had to like roll up your towel and put it along the gap underneath the door of your hotel room because they'd come down the hallways
with
and
the
spray
fog
stuff. Was it fog? Yeah, full on. Yeah, no, I'm glad I didn't do that one. I will be going to Lavinio. So
good. You can have an Aperol spritz for me.
I will. I'll have an Aperol. Yeah. But you'll be in the studio in Sydney.
I'll be in the studio.
Yeah, bugger.
In Sydney with
I'll
Channel
have 20 Aperol spritz for you.
Yeah,
perfect.
Have plenty of Aperol on my behalf.
But you've got quite the process ahead before the Olympics. Belle, you've got to keep going and keep training and do all that kind of stuff. What's on your agenda?
Well, it's just it's just making sure that my back is good. Well, the initial plan coming into this year was making sure my back was good just for normal life, and then layering upon that. So, which I think, regardless, it's important to do. It is a very traumatic injury. I've got 6 pins in my back and 2 big rods, and it takes up a lot of my spine. So I can't like hunch over without feeling it tighten up. And then obviously the wrist, like it's been very complicated. I've had 5 surgeries on it. So making sure that that's all functioning well and I can grab onto things and pull out of a gate if need. So yeah, like it's full on, but my trainer, like he's a nutcase. But what I love about nutty people, and this brushes on to Sami. Sami's nutty. I'm nutty. A lot of my friends are nutty, and I like the people that I work with to be nutty because they think outside the box. They don't listen to like, but this is what the textbook said. This is what we've always done, using that same sentence all the time. They're like, no, we've got this. How can we expand on it? What else can we look at? Because settling for stuff that just works, even if it's successful, can be quite blinding. And I've definitely learnt that mostly initially from Sami and also my trainer back in the day, John Marsden. And I used to watch Sami and John train together and talk through things, and they just pick apart things. And that was something that really kind of shaped my career. And now I have another trainer, John, same name, John Povey. Right. And he's just as crazy. Like, it's great. Like, and he's never...
Is he strength?
Yeah, like mostly strength. But I think there's a bit of a assumption around strength where it's just like slow reps and build up strength. It's not really like that. It's you can manipulate strength reps, tempo, and program cycles to aim for different things. Like, for example, I stopped doing cardio after Beijing. I didn't touch a bike, running, nothing. And I did cardio, but in my strength programs, which means we worked up to basically 20 squats, full squats with 90 kilos on my back. And I've actually never felt fitter on a board. So what I found was that double leg cardio is different to single leg cardio. Single leg cardio as in cycling, running, but snowboarding was double leg. And that was a whole different system for me. And as soon as I did that, I didn't have to spend hours grinding away on a bike or running. I could spend more time on building up my explosive strength and have more time to recover and do everything else as an athlete. And since then, I've just felt so powerful and strong, and I've had to redesign my snowboards because of it. And yeah, I mean, fortunately, I didn't get to see it to fruition this year properly, but we saw hints of it last season. So, yeah.
So, I think that thing about the more time for recovery, because often a lot of the work is done in recovery, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of the time it is. And I think there's I think a lot of people can overtrain. I think people can, you can have 2 or 3 sessions a day, but then like the recovery's not there. So I'm like, you're not really getting the benefit from those sessions. You can also put too many exercises in those sessions, like 15 to 30 sometimes exercises. And I'm like, well, it's all these things when you can just focus on the fundamental lifts and then add a couple things here and there to help. But it's very individual to the athlete. And I think, if you have a blanket rule for everyone, it's not that great. But then I understand the balance of funding and how many athletes per trainer and all that sort of stuff. If it's one-on-one, awesome. But, it's so...
But I think also, Belle, like it's also understanding that for you over your career, your athlete age has increased along with your biological age. So your level of experience and the amount that you need to do to get to your peak or to achieve PBs changes. And the way that you need to train as a young developing athlete versus an elite athlete are very different. And that the mechanism is hard to have in place to allow for the specificity required and surround, like for Belle, a lot of what she said before was that like we talk shop a lot, like, we talk about skiing and snowboarding a lot. And like she said, it's about thinking about outside of the box. How, okay, I'm doing these squats and I'm doing this program and I'm doing some single leg calf raises. Yeah, I understand the basics of why I'm doing it, but is this going to help me be more powerful in the turn? No, it's not, because that work should have been done in April. And now we're getting close to the money time, and I want to make sure that I'm accelerating through the turn, not just, and we really surrounded ourselves with people, including each other, who would go, hey, well, you end up in that body position, but we don't actually train in that body position. And people didn't like that very much.
Oh, it's funny, isn't it? Because so there's basically a 12-month schedule really as to where you should be at before you hit the World Cup season, as to where your training should be. But if you've got, and you mentioned funding before, if you've got an athlete pathway where you get a certain amount of money and you only have a certain amount of athletes that have access to that money and access to that training, does that mean everyone has to train under the same person, even if they're not?
Sometimes.
But even if you're... It's hard, isn't it? Because what works for one person coaching is different to one
the same program as our aerials girls, and I was a ski cross athlete at 79 kilos of muscle mass. And, and I was like, why is this happening? And that it wasn't a discredit to the trainer or anything because again, the foundations are so similar, but what I needed was the specificity, and I wanted someone like what we're doing now to talk about how to accelerate through the turn, how to land softer, how to jump further, how to do all these things. Sometimes you can rock the boat a little bit by asking questions. And unfortunately for us in the sports of ski cross and snowboard cross, there's no formula, because you're racing against 3 other people, and you can be really great and your day can get ended in turn 1 because someone falls into you. The risks are so high for an outcome. So for us, we were always willing to go and go what's this cool thing you could do on a Pilates reformer to train your hip more to get more strength in this and da-da-da-da-da-da. And some people find that disrespectful or threatening, whereas it's actually just curiosity. And Belle and I have always been super curious about how we could be better.
But it's also, as Belle was saying before, it's your life. Other people might care, other people might listen, but you're the one that has to get it done. So if you've found a way that makes it easier or better for you, for performance in particular, why would you not follow that? Do we need more funding? Is that what we need in order for more specificity? I can't even say the word properly.
I think there's always room for more.
Training.
Yeah. There's always room for more.
And I also think at the FIS World Cup level, you have a right to ask questions. I mean, you're competing for your nation, and you know, on a world stage. So if you can't ask those questions at that level, when can you?
Yeah, like I think you should be able to ask questions regardless. I think nurturing that curiosity, and there's a famous quote, I don't even know who it's by, but I read it in a book. I should get that book. But it's the curious adult is the child who survived. And that's really stuck with me my whole career. And I read it when I was a teenager, and that's something that I've always kept, and I've always been curious about things. I've always questioned things, and I really encourage young athletes, or anyone actually from any walk of life, to be questioning why they do things. And the people who are being asked those questions is to be open-minded to it, because it's nothing to do with what they're prescribing the athlete. It's to do with them learning as an athlete, and why am I doing a squat? Why am I doing a single leg squat? Why am I running? Why am I doing 70 Ks on the bike? Why am I, doing bicep curls, or whatever it may be? Like, just ask that question so you have a very deep understanding of it, because then that just compounds over into your own sport. If you don't ask those questions, you're just blindly following, then it's like, well, that's okay, you can do that. But find a way to challenge yourself and ask those questions to know why, so yeah.
There is a culture politically within elite sports, though, that often is quite terrifying to young people to actually challenge. And, you've got to look at that as well. So with that question, Belle, why do you do border cross?
Because it's goddamn fun. It's really fun.
It looks a lot of fun. It looks a lot of fun.
Now, like, I'm looking at, because I've missed this whole domestic season just to rehab, and I look at the odd videos that come up on my feed, whether it's Mia or Josie or Valentino or whoever, and they're doing all these things, and I'm like, I can feel the excitement, like just looking at the footage and just feeling what that feels like on a board, and that gets me excited. That gets me those those little jitters, like wanting to get up in the morning and just eat all my breakfast, like chow it down, and then get in the car and then go out there. That's what it feels like for me, and that feels like for me for my whole career. I did have a period of burnout, but I found that love again and that excitement, and every single day for the last, I'd say, 2 years in particular, has been that like the day I first discovered snowboarding, the first day I was on a board. So yeah, that's
wow.
That's why it is. It's bloody fun.
Do you miss that, Sami?
I mean, I don't miss the risk.
Yeah.
But
okay.
and fortunately, I did my sport competitively because it was part of my ethos in my upbringing, it's part of my DNA. Skiing is part of my DNA.
Yep.
And it's something generationally I can do with my family. This year I skied with my dad and my daughter, and there's not a lot of sports out there that you can do with the whole family. So the love is still there. I really enjoy consuming elite sport. As we said, I was breastfeeding in the middle of the night watching Belle when she broke her back. My weekends are structured around, when we're a couple of days off from Seoul and Alpine World Cup's about to kick off, I am a consumer of the sport because I love the sport. I think a big discredit or disservice is paid when an athlete retires and they do not consume the sport or they don't participate anymore. That's really sad to me, particularly when our sports, like Belle said, at their foundation, they're so much fun.
Yeah, I don't know about that retiring, because it must be painful for some athletes to actually still
But if you can
be
find,
involved.
like Belle said though, it's about the love for snowboarding or about the love for skiing. And there is a part of you that somewhere along your career decided that you would go a second day or a third day because this was really fun, and you got that curiosity where you didn't know what your hopes and dreams and aspirations would look like or if they'd ever end up. And you could go and even here skiing in Australia and skiing amongst the gum trees, you can't do that anywhere else. There's just it's almost romantic. Yeah. And I think for me in retirement, and something that I talk to a lot of our athletes about who are either thinking about transitioning away from competitive sport is, take the time, but don't distance yourself, because there was somewhere deep down in you someone that really loved this just because it was fun.
That's that's really beautiful. As a tax-paying Australian, I'm very proud of both of you at the level of athleticism that you display on a freaking elite World Cup circuit and at the Olympics. I feel like my money's gone to the right place. Although we probably haven't got we haven't sent enough of it to you guys. Let's hope we get some more funding from this podcast
we're very
alone.
grateful for it. Very grateful.
Don't get your hopes up, though. We'll see what happens. I wish you all the best with your rehab, Belle. We're obviously going to be keeping a very loving eye upon you. And Sami, we look forward to hearing your dulcet tones on Channel 9 and the commentary box with Wide World of Sports when the Livigno Olympics comes around I call it the Livigno Olympics, as if there's no other place in Italy it's actually being held. It's so bad I say that.
Milano Cortina.
Thank you very much. That's well done. Yeah, a good promo. Yeah, we look forward to hearing you then. All right, ladies. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for listening to the SnowsBest.com podcast. If you like what you hear, be sure to review and subscribe via your favourite podcast platform. Like @MissSnowItAll on socials and hit up the SnowsBest.com website for all your snow travel banter. This episode was produced on the land of the Gundungara people. We pay our respects to the elders, past and present.